Is there a moment from your career at this point that you see as defining, or one that you look back on as helping you chart your course? What is that moment for you?
Well, thanks, Yvonne. That's a tough question, right? Because I can draw on experiences as a child growing up in New York City, and can also draw on experiences professionally that I would deem as defining. But the one that sticks out the most to me was dating back to the global financial crisis in 2008. I began my career as a banker at Merrill Lynch in the late 90s. And during the global financial crisis of 2008, our firm was purchased by Bank of America. And before that event, I had been in discussions with a mentor of mine at the time who had taken an interest in my career, who I still keep in touch with, who's no longer at the firm. And we've been having discussions about transitioning from a producer role, which I was at the time, client facing, to a managerial role. And we had this grand master plan hashed out. Uh, but then the crisis came along, and then the subsequent merger with Bank of America. And with that came a series of unexpected events, right? Leadership changes across the firm, new bosses, new people, and what I deem and define as organizational chaos. And I remember having a conversation with him about, what do I do now? I have a new boss, new people that are around me. And, the tendency, I think, for most of us then was just to put our heads down and survive. The advice that mentor gave me at the time was to, find time with the new leadership team or the new boss that was coming in to lead the business. And, one, introduce myself, get to know him, give him some perspective on my background and my career aspirations, which was to become a leader. And I did ask for that meeting. I set that meeting up, and we spent 60 minutes together before he even started his first day at the firm during his garden leave. And it was a 60-minute interview. It was a pretty intense one. And, after a very long dialogue, he said to me that he had a couple of pretty significant changes that he wanted to make at the company at the time, and to give him time, right? That he would get back to me with some ideas about what I could do and what roles I can step into as a leader. 9 months later, he actually called me into his office and told me he was promoting me into a leadership role, and that taught me several lessons. Right, the first and most important one was that it's really important that at a moment in time when you feel you're ready, that you advocate for yourself. And as I mentioned earlier, the tendency, particularly when there's change happening at your firm, is to keep your head down and survive. Very few times do we actually put ourselves in that position to, what I call, professionally advocate for ourselves during times of change. So that was the first important takeaway. It wasn't obvious at the time to step in and take that chance with a new boss coming into the firm. But obviously it was the right decision at the time, and one that allowed me to step into a new role and then subsequent roles in leadership after that. And then the second one is the importance of being prepared, right? Because as I mentioned, that one interview turned into a discussion around, if I promote you into this role, what's your game plan, right, to turn the business around? And the preparation ahead of that, right? Because I had thought in my mind, should I step into this role? Here are the things that I would change, and how we would change, and how the business operates, and how our clients perceive us. And the importance of preparation has been invaluable, right? It started back then, and even to this day continues to drive all of the decisions that I make and all of the partners that I engage with on a daily basis to run my business.
Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you for the insight and the inspiration.